Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's so exciting that you all took a minute out of your really busy first day at Mito to join us. Thank you so much for coming. We are thrilled at the crowd, so thank you. My name is Megan Maloney, and I serve as the Vice President of the Optical Women's Association right now, and soon to be incoming President. And by way of profession, I work for a large national retailer in the United States called National Vision. We're the third largest optical retailer, and I am the Chief Merchandising, Supply Chain, and Managed Care Officer for that company. Thank you so much for coming today again. What we're going to do is today our presentation is about breaking optical barriers, and we want to introduce you to some amazing women so that you can hear their success stories. But before we do that, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Lorraine Burton. She is the president of Mito and ANFAO and the generous sponsor of today. Let me introduce Lorraine.
Hello to everyone, their guests, their colleagues, and their friends. It is with great pride and sincere emotion that I welcome you to this meeting focused on the empowerment of women and the role of women in the industry, in our industry. The commitment of the Optical Women Association in this direction is truly impressive, and Mito is the perfect stage upon which to spotlight it. Today we celebrate the women who have broken down barriers, overcome obstacles, and achieved key objectives in a world that too often has been them struggle to assert themselves. And we are doing in the optical sector, which is not only technology and innovation, but also vision, creativity, and passion. What does the empowerment of women really mean? It is a big question. It means giving all women, and I say all women, not only the strong ones, this possibility to choose, to express their talents, to access to same opportunities. It means acknowledging diversity as the driver of growth of our business, for the market and for the society. In the eyewear sector, we have seen extraordinary women rise to the top as enterprise, designers, managers, and yet the numbers still tell us that the journey to full partly is still a long one to do. We must work together to build a future in which talent and capacity could do more than the gender. I understand just how difficult it can be to get ahead in historical male environments. The men should know this too. I had first-hand experience in my career, an institution and an association where women in leadership positions often struggle to be fully acknowledged. And here I would like to say that when a woman is a woman in power, usually it's more difficult because they look at us more. If we make a mistake, they don't forgive us, and it can be very difficult. I know personally that, and I think many of you know that. Recently, I have promoted and took part of an event titled The Challenge of Being Woman, a title that is also a truth. Being a woman in certain contests is still a challenge. Being so successful means overcoming resistance, proving one's worth every single day. Not just as much as a man, but often even more, much more. If there is one thing I've learned, it is that determination and capability break down either barriers. And when a woman succeeds in the rising to the top, not only does her own destiny change, but also paves the way for those who follow. In fact, I always say I'm not worried that I'm the first president female for Mito and ANFAO. I am worried for who's going to be the second one. How many years is going to be from my one to next one? I hope it's not going to take so long. How many years? Over 55. Today, with this conference, Tank to Awa, we give a choice to the stories of those women who have made it. The aim is to chat apart for those who will arrive after us, because every step ahead by a woman is a victory for all the other ones. Is the optical industry ready to rise this challenge? I believe it is. But I believe it is if the women keep strong together. And I believe the key to success lies in working together, women and men, business and institution, innovation and inclusion. But I believe a lot, I must say, woman that helps out other women. Together, we can truly break down every barrier. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for doing this in Meadow, for doing this with us. Women should stand one by the other one, always, in their life, in the business, in friendship, with their children, with their husbands. The strength of women can really be more if the other women help them to go through tough times. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. Those were such inspiring words, and it's no wonder that Lorraine raised her hand to sponsor our very first international event. So thank you again for your sponsorship and support. So today I'd like to introduce you to an esteemed panel of women. I'm going to ask you to come up to the stage, but we're going to talk a little about the OWA as well before we get to it, but I'd love to introduce you to this group of women. So please join me. We have Malika Azrine Boufer-Kane. Excuse my pronunciation. She is the Vice President of Human Resources for EssilorLuxottica. We have Barbara Salimbeni. You all probably know her well. She's the Managing Director for Italy and Vice President of Global Trade Marketing for Marchand. And we have Sara Ascolati, Chief Brand and Marketing Officer for Telios. These women have done amazing things, and thank you guys for volunteering to be our first international panel of women. Just quickly, for those of you that don't know us, I think many of you do, but if you don't, I wanted to give you just a couple of minutes background of the Optical Women's Association. The Optical Women's Association was founded in 1997. Our mission was stated then and is still to promote the leadership role of women in the optical industry. And I think we've done that very well, and we work very diligently against that mission. We provide many avenues for women to explore their career journey. We want to meet women where they are. We represent all facets of the industry, so optometrists, opticians, retailers, suppliers, contact lens, frame lens, everyone. Everyone is very well represented, and we welcome all of you. We are over 1,000 women strong now, and we actually have 80 international members to date. So we encourage any of you that haven't joined to please do so. Some of the other things that we provide are mentorship. We provide leadership scholarships for emerging leaders and rising stars. We have podcasts and virtual events and live events and lots of ways for folks to network in the organization. So hoping that all of you will explore us a bit and see what we have to offer. Last year here, you may remember, for those of you that were here, we did a very quick exploratory exercise to see if there would be interest from you folks or from our international colleagues for us to expand the OWA, because historically we've been a North American organization. And the feedback last year, Mita, was overwhelming yes. Yes, we love what you do, and yes, we would love to have those programs. And so we quickly, in April of last year, put together an international expansion committee. It is now an operating committee within the Optical Women's Association, and that group is tasked with learning from all of you. They've built an international committee, and they're building now the content and the value proposition for the international community. So lots more to come, but that group is busy. and they would love to have anyone's involvement. If you are not a member of the OWA, of course we encourage you to join, and I'll provide you a QR code here at the end. But there's lots of ways to get involved. You can certainly join a committee within International. There are ways to get involved with events, with membership, with connection and enrichment, lots of things that you can do, or just become a member and take advantage of the content that's available on the website. Just to give you a quick view of some of the things that are happening for the international folks, we've been able to expand some existing programs, things like book club. This is pretty, we have a book club within our US organization, which is very, very, there's a lot of energy around that. We're able to provide that to our international members through electronic books. We are doing events, in-person events, and emulating what we do so well in the United States. This is our first one, but you'll see us at 100% Optical and Silmo as well. We're planning regional events, and those are just a little bit more intimate and in region, on the ground, more to come on that. And one of the coolest things that we're doing now, and if you haven't visited our website, we're really proud that we just launched a new one. We're building out a community corner just for the international community. And so watch for that, and we're open to suggestions for how to make that more powerful. So that's kind of what we're up to. I want to thank all of you for coming again. I want to get to the most important part, which is these lovely women. But what I'd ask you is to please scan the QR code and join. It's very easy, and many of you are part of organizations that are sponsors, and so you can join as a sponsor member. And I would like to lastly thank our sponsors. You are the lifeblood. Many of you are sitting here. You are the lifeblood of our organization, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. And one quick reminder, after this, Mito has been generous to invite us all to have a cocktail next door or at the fashion show area. There are cocktails where we can mingle, and you can look for folks with the pink carnation. If you have questions about us, hunt us down there. Thank you so much, and let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, thank you. So, hoping each of you can just share just a quick 2-minute pivotal moment in your career that significantly shaped your path to leadership. So,
I go first?
Can we start? Yes. Do
Yeah,
you mind?
sure.
Can we start with?
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? Perfect. First of all, thanks a lot for getting me in, and happy to share my career through and the journey up to now. So I started within, and not in the optical industry, but in the protective equipment industry, in the HR field. And in less than 5 years, and after 3 successful moves, I got the opportunity to move into a C-suite position that was about completely reshaping the company pay-for-performance philosophy with the impact of expanding the organic growth for this organization. And it was a true move from a pure managerial responsibility into a C-suite type of exec position, having to work closely hand in hand with the company CEO, the CHRO, the entire executive committee, and most importantly, with the board of directors, managing the entire connection with when it comes to the governance. All of that at the age of 30. So it was an impressive move, and one could be easily impressed. And I think at the age of 30, I wasn't fully conscious of how this position would pave my way for leadership. And instead of getting somehow paralyzed by the responsibility that lies with such position, I jumped into immediate action. And there are 3 key learnings that I walk away from this pivotal moment. The first one was truly to calibrate my different stakeholders' expectations. It was a big job, and I had to make it right. And I think you've just heard before that as a woman, and especially within your first exec position, you are not forgiven any mistake. So I just wanted to make sure that my stakeholders' expectations were truly calibrated, and I knew what I was appointed for. Second thing that was super important was, instead of getting swamped in everything that has to be done, I choose to focus on the 1, 2 that would create the biggest impact and really earn my legitimacy around the table. And last but not least, creating the network, because I had to learn everything. and instead of boiling the ocean, created connection both internally, externally, to learn from others, and also having those people supporting me and sometimes even holding my hand towards success. So these were really the key 3 learnings for me.
Thank you. Excellent. So, Barbara, could you share a pivotal moment in your career journey that got you to this place?
Yes, first of all, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for having me here. So, my pivotal moment was really the beginning of my international career that happened to be in Asia. I give you a little bit of background. After 6 years working and living in Italy, in Milan, I really wanted to step out of my comfort zone, look for new challenges. Therefore, I accepted a job offer in Hong Kong for an Italian fashion company in a role of a marketing manager position for Asia Pacific. As part of my role, I needed really to manage and oversee 7 different markets. From Seoul to Sydney, so pretty broad. Well, in my first 30 days, I traveled all around Asia because I really wanted to meet the team in person. I was equipped with a lot of passion and a beautiful PowerPoint presentation with the strategy, the goal, the action plan, and so on. And every single meeting actually ended with a lot of yeses and a lot of smiles. So I was very proud of myself. When I was back in my office, I really quickly realized that just a limited amount of my message went through, and the team were not really engaged. So I started asking myself what I could have done differently. And really the answer was pretty simple. It was my leadership style. I did not adjust enough my style to the team. I did not listen them, understand their belief, their needs, leading their body languages. Of course, I improved over the time, and this provided me a very good background to lead the international team, a multicultural team. However, not only this, I really believe this changed my mindset to be much more flexible, to be business problem, business opportunity, everything from multiple perspectives, and embrace millions of other perspectives to grow together with the team and to bring value to the company. So this was really my pivotal moment.
Thank you. What a great story. What a great story. Thank you. And Sarah, how about you? Could you share a pivotal moment in your career journey?
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me here as well. Very honored. When I stepped up 15 years ago as director of the eyewear division in Dior Couture, I had a great boss and coach. And he told me this thing about leadership, about particularly women in leadership. And he told me, you know, you have to do 3 things. In French is faire, faire faire, et faire savoir. So you have to be able to do things. And on this one, I would say that women, as they have always the feeling not to be good enough and to be the first in class, they are quite good in doing things. Hard worker, trying to get excellence. So I said, okay, I'm able. The first one is ticked. The second one is faire faire, so is to delegate. And delegate actually is a big responsibility. Because first of all, of course, you need to be sure that the person you are delegating to is able to do the job. But much more than that, it is a management responsibility. Because you have to find the good balance between the empowerment of the person and not putting the person in danger. And so this is something that I've been learning in the years. And voilà, this is the second. And about the third one, which is faire savoir, let other people know of what you do. this one, it was maybe the most difficult for me, and it is about, of course, networking, about saying, here, this is what I do, what I can say, etc. And on this one, of course, you learn to do that, and I think is absolutely important, particularly to keeping the right network. But I'm deeply convinced that this has to be genuine. A kind of thing, you get to the third step if you are excellent and genuine in the two first. Voilà. So this is my point.
Excellent, excellent advice. Thank you. Thank you. I think we'd also like to hear from each of you, if you could just talk about one of the biggest challenges that you faced as a woman climbing the corporate ladder and what you did to overcome it. And why don't we start with you this time?
Yes, this was much after in my career, and I would say I'm quite a passionate person, quite authentic, and I can speak up and very quickly. And at a certain point, one of my boss told me, you have to pay attention to this one, because in the business environment, particularly when you have really at leadership positions, it can be perceived the fact that you are quick to the answers, quite impulsive, passionate. It could be immediately seen as you are just a hysterical woman. And this really, I thought it was a good point. I don't think that is something that is pointed out to men if they react quickly, if they are passionate in saying things. But for women, it can become immediately a stereotype. And so I learned sometimes, yes, to think 3 seconds before answering, and to be more thoughtful. But here again, not renouncing to a thing that I believe is key in management and in leadership, that is in any way to take a decision quickly. So thoughtful, but yet quick.
Excellent, thank you. Barbara, how about you? What's one of the biggest challenges you faced, and what did you do to overcome that?
So the biggest challenge that I faced was looking back at my past as a woman, because otherwise as a manager and leader you face every day, everybody, many challenges. But was really encountered this in companies where the authoritative leadership styles was really the norm. And at that time, I really felt the pressure somehow to adhere to it, even though it was not my own style. So I needed to build, first of all, credibility. And to build credibility, I needed to break some stereotype. Some stereotype, for example, that being kind means being too soft, or not being assertive, or being collaborative and listening to your team really means not being able to make tough decisions. So to overcome it, I worked twice as much to keep demonstrating. And sometimes over maybe feeling in the trap to be perfection, right? To follow the need to be perfection, really to demonstrate always that anyhow I could achieve the goal, but in my own style.
Thank you. Thank you, great advice. Malika, how about you? Could you share a challenge that you had along the way and what you did to overcome it?
Everything that has been shared so far resonates with a couple of main challenges that I faced. The first one was being the only woman in the leadership room. And the second one was to balance leadership and with motherhood, actually, having raised 3 fantastic kids. And my takeaway from those challenges were really, first of all, staying true and authentic to myself. I truly believe that I was the only owner of my voice and confidence, and making sure that I would not compromise on voicing out whatever I could think of. Being the only woman in the room was super important because I was already a big believer that bringing diversity around the table would bring much more performance. This was the first big ticket item. The second one was making sure that I would not compromise on the balance between my personal and personal life. And it took me to even challenge some of my stakeholders in terms of my availability to support and making sure that I would keep a strong focus not only on the professional side, but also on the personal side. The second thing was making sure that I would do it right, not only for myself, but also for the other women coming behind. So as a woman in a leadership C-suite room, we hold the responsibility not only for ourselves, but also blazing the trail for those that would come. And last but not least is again about the support and the network. Support from the personal side, because all the, I would say, mental load should not only sit on the woman's side, but the partner in life has to hold its part of responsibility. And also the network on the professional side to make sure that you get surrounded by mentors and sponsors that would, again, lend a hand to you, especially during the toughest times.
Excellent. I think we can relate to everything that you ladies have just said, so thank you for that. Barbara, I'm going to ask you this one. Have you encountered gender bias in your career? And if you have, how did you address it?
So, I encountered gender bias more at the beginning of my career, so looking at the past. More related to the use of language, because language can really be such a powerful weapon. And the use of not inclusive language in the workplace can really lead to microaggressions that can, however, are micro, but can have a macro impact on who is receiving them. And can undermine your confidence, your ability to take risk, and so on. So I give you some example. So when I was in meeting, being referred as a sweetheart or a young girl, while my colleagues instead were referred by role, by name, or other example was being interrupted many times, or what I perceive were more times than the male colleagues, and also having maybe a colleague that repeating the concept that you just said, pretending to be more clear. And then the meeting and the discussion was unfolding based on what your colleague said, not about your contribution. So I think how we overcome this of course, first of all, many times are unconscious from both sides. So how I overcome them, sometimes I really address them openly, sometimes I simply let it go. Because when you really recognize them, there is no emotional impact on you. So nowadays, I believe things are really changing, evolving. Language and inclusive language in workplace is one of the topics that is being addressed by many companies. I would like to remind that with ANFAO, I am also board member of ANFAO, in 2020-2023, so a few years ago, we really launched a training course to promote the use of inclusive language, and that today is even a much richer program. So,
thank you. Malika, I'm wondering if you could share the role that mentors and coaches and allies have played in your professional growth, and how can others cultivate those kinds of relationships?
They've been instrumental in helping me pave the way for my career, actually. And I think it's super important that we very early differentiate between having a coach, mentor, versus having a sponsor. The coach and the mentor would help you in understanding where you stand, playing the mirror effect and playing the sounding board, questioning you, making sure that you are going into the right direction. On the other side, the sponsor would be the one that would help on your career trajectory alongside with you. That would be the individual that would talk about yourself when you're not in the room. And I was super lucky to be surrounded by fantastic and amazing mentors, some also sponsors, some being in the room today. And I've been able to grow thanks to their support, but also the fact that at some point they've decided to take some bets on me. Just to conclude, I think the networking is super essential because playing it as a lonely wolf doesn't work at all, especially being a woman and playing in the field of industry. So you have to be surrounded by a super strong network, and you're gonna get out of this network what you put in. So the more you invest, the more you put in there, the most you're gonna get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Could not agree more. I could not agree more. Sorry, you touched on this a little bit, which is interesting, but how do you balance that assertiveness that you talked about earlier with collaboration and leadership, especially in environments where women are judged differently?
Yes, on this topic, I don't believe at the end that is just a women matter. Is a matter of leadership. Mm-hmm. And I think that to be a good leader, of course, you have to have a certain vision. You have to transmit this vision. You have to transmit to your people the global picture, the appreciation of the global picture, and at the same time, the attention to every single detail. But more than everything else, I think that is very important when we talk about collaboration styles, collaborative styles. It is very important to have people working together, to have different teams sitting around the table and working together. And so this is a topic of transversal leadership that you can transmit and have. And maybe this is a characteristic that, if I may say, maybe is more a feminine one, like the mother having all the children around the table and feed them somehow. But I believe is an important strength to cultivate. And similar to this, in order to have always this assertiveness towards some targets and at the same time to keep this collaborative mindset, I believe very strong in having the good balance between the focus to the targets and the genuine interest for your people that are definitely your most valuable asset.
Agree. Thank you. Thank you. So hoping each of you could give some advice. What advice would you give to women that are aspiring to achieve executive roles? And maybe we'll start down there this time.
Okay.
Malika?
Sure. Reflecting on it, the first one would be really owning your voice and confidence again, staying true to yourself. So having the courage to stand up for whatever you believe is right to go for. The second thing is to really bring again your network alongside with you and have your allies alongside to support because it's a journey to get into the C-suite level, and getting there is only the starting point. The most important is to sustain the trajectory once you're there. And keep earning your seat at the table. The third one is really focusing on your impact, because your legitimacy, you earn it through the positive impact you can have on business, on people. And the last but not least is not following the crowd and really embracing your risk and defining your own path. There is no one that looks alike the other. So everyone's trajectory can definitely be different from one the other, and it's super important for you to define your own path and not go where everyone goes.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you. Barbara, how about you? What advice would you give to women aspiring to make it to the executive ranks?
I really agree on Malika, what she said. So I would say really do not isolate yourself. Do not think that you are alone. And so important, bridge strategic alliances. And alliances can be within your organization, so with senior leader that can support your growth, but also alliances cross-departmental. So go out of your department, your team, look also what the others are doing, because this is so important. This will give you a 360 view of the company and the challenges, and very helpful in your growth. Talking about alliances, of course, very important, external alliances, organization and association like OWA are doing a fantastic job, really to feel connected, also in our industry, also outside, and sharing different experiences.
Thank you, thank you. And Sarah, what advice would you give to women aspiring for executive roles?
I would say two. The first one, I mean, is something that we have repeated and it's quite basic. Maybe that is really to try to have a good balance between your professional and personal life, which means that you don't have to be afraid of making even like bold choices, like for instance, then depending on what you wish in your personal life, but for instance, having kids when you are in a critical step of your career. I would say yes. I've been very lucky. I've done all my career in France, and I would say that the kids are a much less topic than in other countries. I have 3 kids. But yes, go bold. There is never the right moment, and actually what you have in your personal life actually can strengthen your professional strength. Of course, you have to have somebody, partner in life, taking care very much of the kids at home. And the second advice, which I think is at the end the most important for women, is that. Is easier today, honestly, in this industry, and anyway in the industry where we come from originally, that is the fashion and luxury industry, to step up. But a certain point is definitely true that there is the glass ceiling, the famous one, when you are really at very top positions. And on this one, I'm sure the glass ceiling exists very much because of a mindset of the women themselves, that when are at the moment of the critical moment to get to the top position, they are wondering if they are able actually to get there. They are wondering on they are doubting on their capacities, and they are thinking somebody else actually is better than me. And this is something that men never do, honestly. So this is, I'm sure that the new generation are braver on this point and stronger. And I think this is the most important advice.
Thank you. That was interesting insights from all of you, and you have all certainly reached the top of your careers. I think in the Optical Women's Association, as I said at the beginning, we are our mission is to really meet people where they are, and people have a lot of different career goals. So just to close us out, I'm going to ask you each one more question. And thinking about women at all stages of their career journeys and with all kinds of different aspirations, what's one piece of advice you would tell your younger self when you were starting out your career, knowing what you know now? And Barbara, let's start with you.
Okay, at the younger self, I would say start and really at the beginning looking for a company of with a merit-based culture and that has value that align with your value and your motivation. So the importance of what is called purposely driven company is huge, and this goes really beyond your role or your salary, which are absolutely important. But a purpose in your job will make really fulfill you, will make your fulfillment, and will keep you also motivated along the year.
Thank you. Sarah, would you like to go next?
Yes, definitely at the younger stage to be the bravest, and again to move, not to fear of moving of positions, industries actually, and geography. And this, again, I believe that young girls are thinking twice about these moves for the reason I said before, because they are always wondering, am I capable to do this step? And so, go girl.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And Malika, we'll finish off with you. What is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
It's not working. Now it's okay. If I was given the opportunity to talk to my younger self, I would share one quote that I came across with a few years back that since then became my motto, and that's a quote coming from René Char that says, I will try to translate it in English, that says, provoke your chance, go towards your risk, hold on your happiness. Looking at you, they will get used to it. Sorry, and this is a quote that is super powerful about everyone's ability to define their own path without being deterred by others' viewpoint or opinion.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, so much. So again, thank you. We are humbled and honored that you joined us for our very first international event. You couldn't have been a better panel of women to help us deliver our message. Thank all of you for taking your time out. Scan the QR code and become a member. We'd love to see you. Thank you again to the sponsors who, again, are so important to us. And remember to join us next door for a cocktail with for some networking and any questions you may have. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You ladies are so inspiring.